Is there an agenda for everyone? Good morning, everyone. Let me at this time ask Member Robinson. This meeting is now called to order, so we'll ask Member Robinson just breathe a word of prayer for us.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us here safely. We ask you to lead, direct, and guide us in our deliberations on the matters related to the CDF. Hasten the footsteps of those who are on their way. These and other mercies we ask in your name. Amen.
Thank you very much, Member. Are there any apologies for absence?
There is an apology for lateness for the chairman.
Any other? If there is none, let me welcome us all to this meeting. It is the first meeting since the budgeted year has started. We expect to have long life, longevity. The process continues, and we expect that each of the 63 members will be comforting and will be comfortable. Once again, let us just welcome each other to this, the first meeting. Can we have confirmation of the minutes dated January 31st, 2023?
Chair, there are some corrections to the minutes. Mrs. Bear, just you can identify them.
Let me hear the corrections.
Okay. Page 2. The paragraph holdover CCTV project Olympic Way. Section of the manual should be 4.20 instead of 420.
Sorry?
The section of the manual, it's 4.20.
In the section on page 2, 6.1, if you go down to the 4.20, it says 420.
It says 4 what?
20.
It says 420. It should be 4.20. On page 10, the Honorable Dr. Horace Chang, the constituency is St. James Northwestern and not St. James Southern as it states in the minutes. On page 11,
Page 11.
on page 11, number 73, Honorable Pernell Charles Jr., the constituency should be Clarendon Southeastern and not South Central. And on page 12, number 85, the MP's name is Honorable Orlando Terry Long and not Terrybone. Those are the corrections we identified. I'm not sure if there's any other. Thank you.
Stand back. So I hope you'll welcome me accordingly.
Very sorry about that, being that I am not the formal chairman. I must now say to Madam Campbell, we welcome you back, ma'am. I have seen pictures, and it is a delightful sight. I hope it continues in that vein, and we will be counting 1, 2, 3, 4.
I want to add to that, as a mommy to welcome you to that special and most exclusive club. Your life has changed and you know love like you have never known it before. And it is showing. You look beautiful and glowing.
Now that we have had the correction to the minutes, can we have the confirmation of the minutes? Confirm member via seconded member Robinson. Matters arising from the minutes.
Chair, there's supposed to be a meeting that would be held with Radolph and the Minister of Agriculture. Is there an update about that?
I'm not hearing you.
An update.
Oh, an update.
I'm asking the committee if they have an update.
No, we don't.
Please remember I was not at this meeting and my deputy is not aware of any.
I sitting as the acting chairman is unable to say otherwise, and so we will leave that until Madam Chairman gets here, if she will be able to shed more light or some light on the matter.
Yeah. Thank you. Knowing that we're in a new financial year, you don't want the same challenges of last year to be following us. So the earlier we set a date and time for the meeting to correct whatever issues we were facing, it would be better for us at the CDF going forward.
So we will, Madam Clerk will make note of that. On the advice. Any other matters arising from the minutes? If there is none, we move to the review of proposed Sorry?
Just an additional comment as it relates to consultation.
You have to speak in the mic, madam. I know you don't.
Sorry.
You haven't forgotten the mic, right?
No. Just, looking at the minutes where the chair spoke about consultation meetings. To date, we have had 4 held, and we have had 8 scheduled between April 27 and June 1. I'm urging members of the committee just to lead by example. If you're outstanding in your consultation or due, it's now time to schedule a consultation with the CDF PMU.
Is it us members who give you the date or you give us the date?
You give us the date and it is based on mutual availability.
Okay.
Because sometimes you may choose a date that another MP has already, so it's best to give us like 3 dates or 2 dates and we will provide feedback on the availability of it.
Is it easier for you to send us the dates that are already taken?
We could do that.
Right, and so...
Yes, it's biannually, but you have some MPs that do it every year.
Am I outstanding?
Yes, you are.
I am?
Yes, you are deputy. No, Member Crawford. You did in the COVID period. Well, the persons who are outstanding were all written to, and they are aware.
But you have not written to me. So
maybe you need to pick up the letter from the letterbox here at the Houses of Parliament, but you will be seeing that letter coming from
I'll
when was your last consultation?
I'm trying to.
Is there, Mrs. Rochester, is there a deadline? Mrs. Rochester? Mrs. Rochester, question. Is there a deadline once the new financial year starts where you have to have it by, like a particular date?
Not necessarily, solely because really the CDF PMU does not have the resources to facilitate a deadline by. If you understand the capacity, I go and do the consultations. If all 63 could say that yes, they're going to do it by a certain time, it would not be possible for me to go and do all 63. But we try and urge them to do the consultations before June. You can.
The consultation can be held during the week?
Anytime. Saturday, Sunday, I've done consultation once the MP is available and it is properly mobilized.
Okay. All right, members.
I just wanted to mention that there are quite a number of MPs that are outstanding, especially because of the COVID period, and the virtual meetings did not meet with much success. However, the persons we wrote to are the ones that are most long outstanding. So you may have not gotten a letter, but if you are aware that you haven't had one in the past 2 years, we urge you. And as Mrs. Rochester says, as members of the committee, we would love you to lead by example.
So, members, we are getting the information as is, and so we ask that we set the precedents.
Not to labor the point, Chair, but remember that consultation is also tied to funding of projects. So if you have not had your consultation for a period of time, the manual explicitly states that you should not receive GOJ's funds to fund your projects. And we are upholding this now more than ever.
There you go. So, members, let us be the one to set the precedent as members of the committee, and also to encourage our colleagues, those who are outstanding, to make sure that they make themselves available. They avail themselves to that situation, barring the situation that they will hear that sound that says you are not able to access. So let us work in good accordance with that which is the authority.
I find the CDF consultation meetings to be so important to my constituents. So I'm not sure why is it that an MP wouldn't make use of the opportunity, because the misconception about the use of the CDF is always an opportune time for officers to explain just how the CDF work, because constituents consistently believe that we have 20 million, and might I add, it's really 18.5 when you take out the CDF officer out of it, that we are able to do anything we choose with it without understanding that there are specific guidelines. And I want to say that the CDF is one of those with checks and balances, and I'm really very happy with how the CDF conducts its affairs.
Any other matters arising from the minutes? If there is none, we will now move to the review of proposed constituency projects. This is the one we call out the name. Constituency Development Fund project approval. Member of Parliament Honorable Orlando Terry Long, Constituency St. Catherine East Central. Project type Human and Social Development. Name of project St. Catherine East Central Additional Social Housing 2023-2024. Budget $2 million Jamaican. Implementing agency Social Development Commission. All right. Member of Parliament, Mr. Donovan Williams, Kingston Central. Project type Human Social Development. Additional project, name of project Kingston Central Additional Social Housing 2023-2024, $2 million. Implementing agency SDC. Member of Parliament, Ms. Carencia Morrison, St. Catherine Northeastern, project type Human and Social Development. Name of project St. Catherine Northeastern Additional Housing 2023-2024. Budget $1 million, Social Development Commission. Member of Parliament, Mr. Julian Robinson, St. Andrew Southeastern. Name of project, St. Andrew Southeastern Additional Social Housing 2023-2024. Budget $1.15 million. Implementing agency social development. Member of Parliament, Honorable Clifford E. Warmington, Southwest St. Catherine. Name of project Southwest St. Catherine Social Housing 2023-2024. Budget $2 million. Implementing agency SDC. Welfare and emergency. Member of Parliament, Honorable Orlando Terrelong, St. Catherine East Central. Project St. Catherine East Central Additional Social Welfare 2023-2024. Budget $2 million. Implementing agency SDC. Member of Parliament, Mr. Donovan Williams, Kingston Central. Name of project, Kingston Central Emergency and Welfare 2023-2024, budget $2 million, implementing agency SDC. Member of Parliament, Ms. Carencia Morrison, St. Catherine Northeastern, project St. Catherine Northeastern Additional Welfare 2023-2024, budget $1 million, implementing agency SDC. Member of Parliament, Dr. Michelle Charles, St. Thomas Eastern. Name of project, St. Thomas Eastern Additional Emergency and Welfare 2023-2024. Budget $2 million, implementing agency SDC. At this time, we'll welcome the chairman to take her position. Member of Parliament, Mr. Julian Robinson, St. Andrew Southeastern, project type. Name of project, St. Andrew Southeastern Additional Welfare Program 2023-2024. Budget $1.5 million, implementing agency social development. Member of Parliament, Mr. Robert Montague, St. Mary Western. Name of project, St. Mary Western Welfare 2023-2024. Budget $2 million. Implementing agency SDC. Member of Parliament, Ms. Rhoda Crawford, Moy Crawford, Manchester Central. Name of project, Manchester Central Emergency and Welfare 2023-2024. Additional budget $2 million. Implementing agency social development. Member of Parliament, Honorable Clifford E. Warmington, Southwest St. Catherine. Name of project, Southwest St. Catherine Emergency and Welfare 2023-2024. Budget $2 million, implementing agency SDC. Education. Member of Parliament, very thick file. Member of Parliament, Mr. Julian Robinson, St. Andrew Southeastern. Name of project, St. Andrew Southeastern, Summer Reading Camp 2023-2024. Budget $3.841, $119.89 million. Social Development Commission is the implementing agency. Member of Parliament, Ms. Denise Joyce Daly, St. Catherine Eastern. Name of project, St. Catherine Eastern Educational Assistant 2023-2024. Budget $6 million. Implementing agency, Social Development. Member of Parliament, Mr. Michael Phillips, Manchester Northwestern. Name of project, Manchester Northwestern Educational Program 2023-2024. Budget $5 million. Social Development is implementing agency.
Can you repeat that one for me,
Mr.
Chair?
Michael Phillips, Manchester Northwestern. Name of project, Manchester Northwestern Educational Program 2023-2024. Budget $5 million. SDC is implementing agency. Member of Parliament, Honorable Orlando Terlong, St. Catherine East Central. Name of project, St. Catherine East Central Education Program, 2023-2024, budget $7 million. SDC.
Pardon me, Mr. Terrelong? Not only. Chair, my apologies again for getting here after. And something I'd rather which came up just last night. There are two issues that we are going to need to address in this coming year. And I actually wanted to have a mini report. Thank you for being here, Mr. Terrelong. We were just about not approving your projects. There are persons who have not kept their CDF consultation meetings, and I want to put it on record. So I'm asking the CDF office to please give me an indication of members of Parliament that have not held any CDF consultation meetings for the last 2 years. It is critical because as members of the government, from both the government and opposition side, all of us are government, we are required to ensure that the CDF office also meets its requirements. When you're audited, it's going to be argued that you have members of Parliament who have not consulted with their constituencies through no fault of the CDF because they make every effort. I would like to know the members of Parliament who are derelict so that we do not approve their projects at these sittings until they consult with their constituency. Some persons do so annually, but at a minimum, we are required to do so at least once every 2 years. So I'm hoping that at this juncture, we are not approving any of them. And if that is so, please give us some indication. Because as chair, I will not countersign for members of Parliament that have not complied.
Madam, I'm happy that you expound on the situation, but we would have dealt with the matter earlier, but you have put the icing on the cake, so to speak. So we continue. Member of Parliament Donovan Williams, Kingston Central, name of project Kingston Central Education Assistant 2023-2024, budget $7 million, Social Development Commission. Member of Parliament Kerencia Morrison, name of project St. Catherine Northeastern Education Assistant 2023-2024, budget $5 million, Social Development Commission. Member of Parliament, Miss Carencia Morrison, St. Catherine Northeastern. Name of project, St. Catherine Northeastern Education Assistance 2023-2024. Budget $5 million. Social Development Commission. Member of Parliament, Honorable Homer Davis, St. James Southern. Name of project, St. James Southern Educational Support 2023-2024. Budget $6.5 million. Implemented agency, Social Development Commission. Member of Parliament, Honorable Orlando Terrelong, St. Catherine East Central. Name of project, St. Catherine East Central Education Program 2023-2024. Budget $7 million. Implementing agency, SDC. Member of Parliament, Honorable Darrell Vaz, Portland Western. Name of project, Portland Western Educational Development 2023-2024, budget $7 million, implementing agency, SDC. Member of Parliament, Mr. James Robertson, St. Thomas Western Education Program Development 2023-2024, budget $5 million, SDC. Member of Parliament, Mr. Robert Montague, St. Mary Western. Name of project, St. Mary Western Education 2023-2024, budget $5 million, implementing agency, SDC. Member of Parliament, Honorable Robert Morgan, Clarendon North Central. Name of project, Clarendon North Central Educational Assistance Fund 2023-2024. Budget $7 million. Implementing agency, Clarendon Municipal Corporation. Member of Parliament, Miss Rhoda Moy Crawford, Manchester Central. Name of project, Manchester Central EduHealth Program 2023-2024, budget $5 million, implementing agency, SDC. Member of Parliament, Honorable Clifford E. Warmington, Southwest St. Catherine. Name of project, Southwest St. Catherine Education 2023-2024. Budget $10 million, implementing agency, SDC. Warmington. Disaster mitigation. Member of Parliament, Honorable Clifford E. Warmington, St. Catherine Southwestern. Name of project, St. Catherine Southwestern Disaster Mitigation 2023-2024. Budget $1 million, implementing agency, SDC. Sports. Member of Parliament, Mr. Donovan Williams. Kingston Central. Name of project, Kingston Central Sports Program 2023-2024. Budget $650,000. Implementing agency, SDC. Dr. Michelle Charles, Member of Parliament, St. Thomas Eastern Name of project, St. Thomas Eastern Sports Development Program 2023-2024. Budget 1.5 million. Implementing agency SDC. Member of Parliament Honorable Robert Morgan, Clarendon North Central. Name of project, Clarendon North Central Sports Program 2023-2024. Budget $1.5 million. Implementing agency Social Development Commission. Member of Parliament Miss Rhoda Moy Crawford, Manchester Central. Name of project, Manchester Central Sports 2023-2024. Budget $500,000. Implementing agency Social Development Commission. Member of Parliament Mr. James Robertson, St. Thomas Western. Name of project, St. Thomas Western Sports Development 2023-2024. Budget $1.5 million. Implementing agency SDC. And this is no name, but we have Member of Parliament, Dr. the Honorable Nigel Clark, St. Andrew Northwestern. Name of project, St. Andrew Northwestern Chess Class Training and Competition 2023-2024. Budget $2 million. Social Development Commission. Dr. the Honorable Nigel Clark, St. Andrew Northwestern. Name of project, St. Andrew Northwestern Chess Training and Competition 2023-2024. Budget $2 million. Same one, she just asked to repeat. Social Development. Economic Enablement. Member of Parliament, Mr. Donovan Williams, Kingston Central. Name of project, Kingston Central Economic Enablement 2023-2024. Budget $3 million. Implementing agency SCC. Member of Parliament, Honorable Clifford E. Warmington, Southwest St. Catherine. Name of project, Southwest St. Catherine Economic Enablement 2023-2024. Budget $3 million. Implementing agency SDC. Member of Parliament, Mr. Julian Robinson, St. Andrew Southeastern. Name of project, St. Andrew Southeastern Economic Enablement. Budget $1 million. Implemented agency, Social Development Commission. Member of Parliament, Ms. Rhoda Moy Crawford, Manchester Central. Name of project, Manchester Central Economic Enablement Project 2023-2024. Budget $1.5 million. Implementing agency, Social Development Commission. Member of Parliament, Mr. James Robertson, St. Thomas Western. Name of project, St. Thomas Western Economic Enablement 2023-2024. Budget $3 million. Implementing agency SDC. Member of Parliament, Dr. Michelle Charles, St. Thomas Eastern. Name of project, St. Thomas Eastern Economic Enablement Program 2023-2024. Budget $1.5 million. Implementing agency SDC.
Thank you. The following are all human and social development projects. They all relate to the payment of CDF officers for the constituency. Those are the admin assistants utilized for each constituency. All amounts are implemented through the Social Development Commission for this particular spend, and unless otherwise said, it will be 1.5 million for all the amounts called. So I'll call the names of the Member of Parliament, their constituency, and the budget amount is $1.5 million.
Chairman, I want to ask a question about the compensation for the CDF officers, maybe at the end, and how they are treated in terms of as employees. So I don't know if I can raise it now, or you want to wait till the end.
We'll discuss it at the end because it is something I had wanted to raise with the committee as well. Some of the discussions we've been having with the minister and awaiting responses from the minister as it relates to both the CDF admin assistant, and we are also concerned about the CDF officers that operate at the Office of the Prime Minister in the Department of CDF, which is actually under the Ministry of Finance. And there are some concerns there. We have raised them with Minister, and we will give you an interim sense of what the discussion is so far, because I know exactly what the concern is, Member Robinson. Concerns have been already raised, and what the Minister has indicated in terms of his plans to do. Has not said much yet. So Mr. Lutheran Cousins Clarendon Southwest, Admin Assistant. Mr. Lester Mike Henry Clarendon Central. If I need to slow down, you tell me, all right? Most Honorable Andrew Holness, St. Andrew, West Central. Mr. Hugh Graham, he is for St. Catherine Northwest. Mr. George Wright, he's for Westmoreland Central. Mr. Mark Golding, St. Andrew South. Honorable Pernell Charles Jr., his constituency is Clarendon Southeastern. Mr. J.C. Hutchinson, Honorable J.C. Hutchinson for St. Elizabeth Northwest. Mr. Morris Guy, Dr. Morris Guy for St. Mary Central. Mr. Morland Wilson for Westmoreland Western. Mr. Philip Henriquez, his constituency is Clarendon North Western. Miss Rhoda Moy Crawford, her constituency, Manchester Central. Dr. Peter Phillips for St. Andrew East Central. Dr. Angela Brown-Burke for St. Andrew Southwestern. Mr. Julian Robinson for St. Andrew Southeastern. Mr. Philip Paulwell for Kingston East and Port Royal. Honorable Marsha Smith for St. Anne Northeastern, her amount is $1,292,860. I'll repeat, $1,292,860. Have it?
But Chairman, isn't there a set amount that
no? The cap is 1.5 million per year, and that's why I wanted to have a discussion, Member Robinson, because that 1.5 should really pay over 12 months. So there is a few things to just look at as it relates to how we administer for this category. I feel like I passed here something that I didn't read for 1.2 million. No, I know I passed something else. I separated something else. Oh, Marsha. No, I saw one for 1.2 million somewhere. And it wasn't Marsha Smith. Honorable Favour Williams, 1.5 million for St. Andrew Eastern. Dr. the Honorable Nigel Clark for St. Andrew Northwest. Honorable Edmund Bartlett for St. James Central. Honorable Darrell Vaz for Portland Western. Honorable Homer Davis for St. James South. Mr. Fitzjackson for St. Catherine Southern. Honorable Robert Morgan for Clarendon North Central. Mr. Heroy Clark for St. James Central. Dr. the Honorable Norman Dunn for St. Mary Southeastern. Ms. Tova Hamilton for Trelawney Northern. Mr. Robert Montague for St. Mary West. It's Western St. Mary. Ms. Crystal Lee for St. Anne Western. Ms. Anne-Marie Vaz for Portland Eastern. Ms. Natalie Nita Garvey for St. Catherine Central. Ms. Marissa Dalrymple Philibert for Southern Trelawney. Ms. Speaker. Honorable Orlando Terrelong for St. Catherine East Central. Dr. the Honorable Christopher Tufton for St. Catherine West Central. Honorable Olivia Grange for St. Catherine Central. No, well, Central is here, St. Catherine Central. That is, yes, it is St. Catherine Central. For St. Catherine Eastern, Miss Joyce Denise Daly. Miss Carencia Morrison for St. Catherine.
Chair, I recall Miss Daly's being 1.1 million.
Give me that one. I'm sure that I'm not seeing that. I know I took out one for 1.2. I'm not seeing it now that I'm going through. How much is Miss Daly? Oh, thank you very much. This was the one. Miss Denise Daly, her figure is 1.1 million exactly. 1.1 million. That was the one. Honorable Juliet Cuthbert Finn, St. Andrew West Rural. Mr. Robert Miller for St. Catherine South Eastern. Mr. James Robertson for St. Thomas Western. Honorable Floyd Green for St. Elizabeth Southwestern. His figure is 1.2. And last but not least is Dr. Michelle Charles for St. Thomas Eastern. So as Member Robinson asked, one of the things we have put before the minister to consider is jointly our CDF assistant. No, I don't recall. No, definitely not. I'll make sure there are no pieces of paper left under here. Let's do a scan through of that, both bars was called, yeah. Just do a scan through and you'll see if there's anything there stuck onto anything for Tamika Davis or for Mr. Audley Shaw. So, Member Robinson, the CDF officer admin assistant, let me call it that because that's easier to ensure that we don't mix them up. The CDF admin assistants used in the constituencies are on contract. They are contracted every year, which is a part of the problem in respect of the month of April, because when the budget year closes in March, if you realize your CDF assistant has no money for the month of April, because they have to come to CDF again to approve effectively the hiring of your assistant. So though people roll over and have an arrangement with individuals who go from year to year, the actual current rule is that you cannot go out and procure any service until it is approved here at the CDF meeting and signed off. Now, the admin assistant is primarily the reason why we have such a very early meeting, because persons would sometimes still have little resources at the various agencies that they're able to execute doing things in the constituency, but they would not be able to pay their CDF admin assistant. What usually happens is when the payments are made, they would get the retroactive for the month of April in the month that it is approved. Persons have expressed concern because it means that that month is taxed more. They are actually right at the tax-free threshold of 1.5 million, but because they would get 2 months in one, it ends up being taxed. They actually have the prerogative, yes, of doing what is required of persons who would like to claim a tax refund. They can actually, at the end of the year, do their own filings, get a refund. That individual could be working otherwise and have taxes to pay otherwise. So it would be their responsibility. Coming out of the last CDF session we had that year, where we were having a discussion about the payments made to admin assistants and that it would be good to increase the figure, I've written to the minister asking, one, that we have more being paid, one, and two, if possible, not from our CDF, so it frees up that additional $1.5 million. He is going to be looking at that. As it relates to persons who are contracted, Member Robinson, it is definitely one we'd have to look at, because we had moved from allowing persons to contract sometimes 2 people in your constituency. Remember, sometimes half year we used to use 1 person and pay them, then another half year somebody else. It is too much work and struggle and effort for the SDC. So they've asked us to pay just 1 individual, and they've really pre-computed what the arrangements would be for the year, so that it is easy to administer. So we are going to have a discussion as it relates to the issue of contract for service for these officers, as well as follow through with the amounts that they're being paid and come back to the CDF committee to update. As it relates to the CDF officers, we are losing them. So 1 CDF officer at the CDF office is managing sometimes 10 constituencies. Literally. I remember in last session, I had an excellent young lady who was my CDF assigned officer, and she left. I think she was being paid probably like 3 or 4 times more than what she was earning at the CDF office. I saw her recently. She just popped by an event that we were keeping at the constituency office. She was passing, and she saw a massive event, and she stopped, and she would look so happy and fresh, and she's earning so much. And I said to her, would you think to come back to the CDF office, because you're such a good CDF officer and government needs you? And she said, well, I would love it because I love the work, but it would be wonderful if they figured out a way to pay CDF officers more. And she reminded that they didn't have compensations like good vacation arrangements and transportation and travel and mileage and the works. So Member Robinson, come in a comprehensive way, we are going to the minister, because I am sure that we still have 1 or 2 little things outstanding that would relate to persons under the public sector wage compensation, and I believe the CDF officers at CDF, along with those who are our assistants, fall into that sort of gap category that we now need to take a look at and address.
All right, on the issue of their own contracts, because I think for everybody, when they don't get paid in a particular month, the burden falls on us, and you can't escape that because they're working with you. So where you are rolling over and it's the same person, can we find another mechanism so that they can get their April pay on time? I know, but once you know you're using the same person, and you generally know in advance you're using the same person, is there a better mechanism? Because there are few people who can go 2 months without a salary. So they, use your mic, use your mic.
It is a challenge.
That again poses a challenge, Member Robinson, because remember we have to wait on the warrants from the Ministry of Finance. It's new monies, so it will take some working out. I will not say that it cannot happen. I'm solution oriented, so I will see how best we can factor a system which will not interrupt payment for anybody since the salaries are so poor already. However, what I will try and do is to look at ways in which we can facilitate that arrangement going forward. But as it stands now, we have to work out some things before we get there.
Chairman, I'm not too certain if it is common amongst my colleagues here, but there's another problem that these officers face from time to time is getting their pay on time. Sometimes almost to the end of the month, and they have to be calling and calling in a year. Look, tomorrow you will see it in your account. Yes, I have, and I'm not too certain. Late payment to these officers.
Well, I'm just being made aware of that,
yes,
Member Daly.
I'm going to ask you to
bring it to my attention formally, and I will seek to address it. I'm just being made aware here that persons are getting paid late, because that should not be the case, because we would have upfronted the monies long before salaries are to be paid.
What we could do is confirm with SDC if the pay date is the 25th of the month, as happens with others, or if it's the end of the month. That's the first thing, because we would first have to identify what the arrangement is with the contract before we say their payment is late. I do not know, Member Daly, that their payment is late because their payment is actually due at the end of the month. So when you're seeing it coming at the end of the month, it's actually on time. And when it is coming earlier, it is early. So we need to check that out, and then we will get back to you at the next meeting. We will talk with SDC and find out what is the practice. But it is the first that I'm being made aware of any late payments as well.
I want the member to also write me formally so I can action
please
it.
write to the CDF office, to its director formally. If your constituency and your admin assistant has been experiencing this.
Madam Chair, in your absence, the CDF team had asked the committee to give an update on 7.1, that's on page 15, about having RADA present, or the Minister of Agriculture. So we told them that when you were here, you could perhaps.
Yes, I have actually requested that they prepare to come. I've had a meeting with the CEO, the acting CEO for RADA. What I did is to indicate I do not want them to feel we're here wanting to spring things on them, but this is the experience we're having, and we would like them to go through, for the members of parliament who are operating with RADA through the CDF, and identify what is their program for the treatment of distribution of chicken, if it is water tank, the various projects that we would normally refer to RADA, so that they can come and answer our questions. Just pull up a couple, because I told them it's not a got you moment. We actually are having a problem. We need a lot more efficiency, and it is not to embarrass them. It is to figure out a mechanism by which they can improve the service that they offer through the members of parliament to our constituents.
I would want to add to it, but not to appear as if I am really against RADA, but there's a number of issues that RADA need to settle, and I strongly believe, in my regard, at my constituency, I cannot even track my allocations that I'm getting through RADA. So it's very, very serious for me.
That is a concern. What I've had to do is to write them. I write each year for RADA to give me a report on my constituency and the balance that is held there. So when I became a first-term MP, I wrote to find out what was the status of the constituency balance with them from the previous MP. And then each year, with the letters that I get from Parliament, then they're required to give me now an update on what I've received, how much has been spent, and what we have left at RADA for the constituency. It is a good thing to ask that they do it as a matter of course for all constituencies and report to us in the way CDF does, give us a report, even if it is once per year, so that we have a better feel as to how the funds are looking within their agency.
Madam Chair, I can't even say it's on the RADA alone, you know. I have similar problem with the SDC.
You're having that problem?
Yep. It's just because, yes, we have it.
I think we, as MPs, I have,
No,
I have no problem with the SDC.
Well, I
But
have
the
problem with
reason,
SDC.
Member Davis, why I have no problem with the SDC, I require a reconciliation. So what I do each year, at least once per year, we go through with the SDC and we reconcile our records with the SDC and their records with us. And if there are any anomalies, it is resolved there and then, and we balance, and then we move forward. So for our constituency office, we literally make sure we reconcile and we confirm with the CDF. That's usually easy, easiest one. And then the SDC is actually the hardest one because it's where most of our resources are allocated for spend. So that is usually a harder one for me to reconcile. I remember one thing I used to do as the MP was have monies at the hardware. So persons would come and I'd give them the letter to go down to the hardware. So we do their needs assessment and we sign off and we tell them to go down to the hardware and collect. And then I realized when I was reconciling with the hardware sometimes had $1 million and more for us that was not issued. And when I sit down now, I realize constituents did not go. So they come to the office, they pull out their needs assessment form, you send in their things with SDC, you sign off, and their thing is there at the hardware to pick up, and they didn't go. And what I did was to institute 2 weeks pickup. If you don't pick up in 2 weeks, the benefit has been revoked.
Same.
Because obviously you didn't need it. Whatever resources we have, a big part of what the CDF is trying to do is to help us to meet the needs and to spend the resources we have in a timely fashion. So persons who have money sitting down at agencies, it should not be there more than a maximum of 6 months after you've instituted that you budget your program money gone off, 6 months maximum. So monitor it. And I would encourage, we can do the same. Member Davis, we could write all the agencies, write SDC, write RADA, so that funds that they hold for MPs at the end of each year, as a matter of course, they just communicate with us and say, this is what our records show. Could you confirm that all is well? So from CDF, Director, if you don't mind, I would appreciate if we do that. We are happy to also sign off as members, asking the agencies to assist us in implementing a program of an annual reconciliation of the constituency's account with them.
Well, that is,
But we do get the reports in our office, so if what I find is that members and members of parliament in general treat the CDF office as it's, I don't know, we don't exist. It's a place for you to come, have a conversation with us. I'm not supposed to be hearing that persons are getting paid at a committee meeting, 1, and 2, you're having issues with SDC. This is the office that is supposed to deal with it administratively. And if you're having those issues, you know I am easy to talk to. If we're not getting any resolve, we will channel it up. But we have to start at a place where we come to the office. I can show you all the reports from RADA month by month with your balances. You now need to reconcile with RADA or us to say that I don't have this balance or I don't. But RADA has been compliant where reports are concerned, I won't tell you they're accurate, but they do send reports, and I welcome all members of parliament. Visit us once a month, once every 3 months. We'll pull the files, you go through the files, you look at your balances, you can cross-reference to check if that is what your running balance is also saying. And then we work from there. I won't tell you it's an easy thing because there are other challenges, which I know Member Davis, and know about challenges with SDC too, but as it relates to reporting, some of these agencies do have reports in our office that you can cross-reference with.
The thing about it, I mean, I operate a very mean ship, right? Is that we do our own running balance. But sometimes when we want to reconcile our balance against whether it's RADA, whether it's STC, we just can't get it. So we know what we have there, because it is in our interest to make sure that we have that running balance. But the idea, in my opinion, of giving us a balance at the end of each financial year, then that to me would be a workable, because that is when you try to get the balance and try to reconcile your stuff to see where you are and what little, because from time to time you have a little leftover here and there, and you want to get rid of it. And the other problem that was raised. All right. Well, I will ask my personal assistants to liaison, right? But I mean, we don't really have a problem with SDC per se, but it's just that when you ask them for the balance, I mean, they just, they can't say, okay, we just do a printout and send it to you. They can't do that.
The CDF is currently doing an exercise now, and I can advise the committee. So if you hear that we're not picking on any member of parliament, we are trying to see how best you can utilize. We are helping you to utilize the funds better. If you have a balance in any agency over 1 year, we are trying our best not to approve the same project until you spend that amount. So we would have asked the agencies to send us reports. We would have asked the agencies to send us reports of monies rolling over or balances over a year, and we have started that exercise. So you will probably hear the agencies calling you that the CDF office is inquiring about. Please just allow them so that we can come back to the table and say to MPs, this is what we're doing.
Members, I think we can wrap up with that. I will ask Mrs. Rochester if we can, as a matter of course, at the beginning of each parliamentary year, just resend an email to the MPs. Just keep it as something that is done standard, and it helps them to remember their upper and lower limit. It helps them to remember that they can come to the CDF office, they can make appointments to reconcile their balances. It reminds them that within 6 months they're required to spend what they have requested based on the dates also that is expected. And particular ones that got us in trouble was Christmas program and like school, that you're not spending the allocation for school in December instead after July has gone, and you're not hoping to do your Christmas program in July. Even though sometimes we have Christmas in July, the CDF doesn't have Christmas in July. So I would want that, because when you said a while ago that we can actually come to the CDF office, I almost wanted to beat myself because I know. And I just didn't think of it. I just didn't think of it, and it's like, I'm like, but you know that. So it would be good from time to time, just keep it as a standard email so it doesn't have to give you any work. And each year you just resend it. It will help new MPs, and is a reminder for some of those of us who are MPs for a while that somehow it has drifted from our consciousness, the great level of support that you are able to get when you cooperate and work with and go to the CDF office to have your issues resolved. Thanks, members. Good meeting. Would someone move the motion for? So moved by Ms. Daly. And seconded by Member Davis. Meeting concluded. Adjourned.
I exercise and watch what I eat to avoid non-communicable diseases like a stroke or even a heart attack. These NCDs kill our loved ones and cost regional taxpayers dearly. Did you know that? Tune into the Caribbean Economic Forum entitled Managing the Costs and Economic Fallout of Non-Communicable Diseases in the Caribbean on May the 10th at 8 p.m. Barbados time, 7 p.m. Jamaica time.
Remember that big project the government announced them was going to from when? You ever get yourself a wonder what happened to it? Stop wonder like an outsider and start move like the country belong to you. You have a right to publicly owned information, and the Access to Information Act gives you that power. I know you have enough questions about how government are